Hello! Today is October 1st, at least for another 10 minutes, here on North America's West Coast. And this year, I decided to do Inktober as per usual. Most years, I don't make it. But this year, I decided to do something just a little different. I found this group called Linktober. It's a Legend of Zelda prompt list for the month. But they've got 4 different prompt lists. The one I focused on was Linktober Quest. To elaborate, Linktober Quest is essentially a version of Inktober where you get a prompt for every day, and you're essentially telling a story through those prompts, as if you were designing a brand new game and you were the artistic director for it. And as someone who wants to go into game design, that sounded great to me. So I decided, you know what, I'll try my hand at it. After much thought beforehand, I decided, okay, I need to do this in a comic format. As much as I'd love to just do single shots and have them be just little landscape portraits with me decking it out in watercolors and paints, I don't have that kind of skill to get the background done. Especially the kind of painting skill that it would take to do something like that, as much as I would want to. Why not just go ahead and tell it in a comic format, something that I'm used to? But I also know that this is a daily challenge where I have to draw something new every day, which is not exactly my forte considering there's this one piece I've been working on for 3 months now. So, in the end, what I ended up doing is I decided we're going to do no dialogue. Not a single one of these comic pages is going to have dialogue. That is A, so that I don't go insane trying to format speech bubbles like I usually do, and B, because I want to see how much of a story I can convey through body language, light, color, and emotion. And B, I like comics. I really like comics, and Clip Studio has been getting so many nice updates in relation to their comics, and I like comics. In fact, I'm using a manga setting for this comic, and I'm actually prepping this for print, so if people are interested in buying a copy later, let me know. I would be glad to hear it, because, hey, why not? You'd only be paying the cost for shipping and printing. I don't want to charge people an arm and a leg for something like this, but that's in the future, and maybe it won't even happen, who knows. But more importantly, you're here to know the thought process behind today's panel. Comic page. Today's comic page. Today's prompt was your OC. This OC is the OC that's going to go through all the trials and tribulations that will take place during this entire month-long story. Sure, I could have gone something special, some different race, some anything other than what I did. But I decided, you know what? We're gonna make this the most generic man alive. And because of my art style, he started looking like Link, but with brown hair and a brown outfit. But we're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, I started doing this, making him the most generic guy alive, even going so far as to look up what the most generic anime guys looked like, and even video game male protagonists. And, well, the whole reason was, in games, the psychology is that the player will associate more with the character they're playing, and be immersed more if the character has a nondescript sort of personality feature. Like, for example, say you don't actually ever see your character. You feel like you are that character because you're looking through their eyes, and you don't really see them. So that's what I did here. I wanted to make a character that people could associate with, so this is the guy I made. He's average in every regard. He's a Hylian, the most populous race of the world that I'm kind of creating for this game. I am going to have humans in this world, which for those of you who don't know, humans do exist in the Legend of Zelda series, which is something I found out on Zeldapedia today. But anyway, I decided most generic guy alive, that's it. And in turn, he kind of ended up wearing all brown because I am not good with colors. So that was a little painful, but it's fine. It's fine. He'll get some clothing upgrades later, I'm sure. Because, I mean, he's going to be traveling through the Lost Woods to the Zora's Domain and even to Death Mountain, so I'm definitely going to need to give him some costume changes throughout the journey. And the reason I formatted the page like I did, with one full, or almost full body shot, a close-up, and then a picture of a gate-looking thing, is because tomorrow's prompt is the village that he lives in. So I figured I want to lead up so that tomorrow I can just do a full page that's just all the way up to the edges of the page, just complete, here you go, here he is, look at him, look at his town. Because it'll be from behind him looking through the gate at his town. So that will be essentially what I'm doing tomorrow, but in preparation for that, I wanted to have a picture of him so you can actually see what he looks like. And I wanted to indicate that, okay, he's been away for a bit, as indicated by his sleeping bag. He was trading, which is why he has a money pouch on his hip. And he's from a relatively modest hometown, village, whatever you want to call it, because of the garb he's wearing. All in all, I just wanted him to be simple, but also for his outfit to tell a story, and I'm hoping it comes across in my head, but who knows. And he's just relieved to be home. He won't be soon enough, but that's a story for tomorrow. And before anyone asks, no, he doesn't actually have a name. I suck at names, and I decided he's generic character number 5623. He doesn't get a name. Initially, I was gonna give him dark hair, actually. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that maybe not, because when you look at the lore behind Hylians, there's not a lot that defines a generic Hylian. It's the same as saying generic human. There's no real one generic human. But for the Hylians, I decided to go with this combo with just slightly tan skin, because I figured he would be working in the sun fairly often, and light brown hair, because when you look into the lore and you look at Lorule, which is a different dimension with inverted personalities and blah blah blah. I haven't actually played the game, so I don't know a lot, just what the Zeldapedia mentioned. But the Zeldapedia mentioned that typically inhabitants there have darker hair than the inhabitants of Hyrule. So I figured Hyruleans, by extension, typically have lighter hair. So I figured I wanted to go with dark brown for him, since in theory, Hylians more commonly have light brown hair, all things considered, from the evidence I found. I don't think that's canon in any way, shape, or form. That's just what I like to think right now. I can't get over the fact that he still kind of looks like a Link lookalike, but that's just kind of how my art style goes. I can't messy hair without it looking like a Link. It's kind of a shame. Even some of my OCs look like Link the way I draw them. Oh well. Hopefully the hair color will be enough of a distinction, because initially I was going to do black and white. I was seriously considering it for a while, but ended up scrapping the idea because if I do black and white and he's got light brown hair, that's not gonna fly, and he's gonna look exactly like Link when he shows up. So that, not happening, no thank you. I'd rather be able to, actually see what's going on. So, that's pretty much the thought process behind it. As for the backgrounds, initially I was going to have this town in a highly wooded area, but then I realized I can't draw trees. And after several failed attempts, which is actually over an hour and a half of deleted footage that isn't actually shown in here, because I didn't want to tack on any more than I had to. I ended up just scrapping the idea and going with Plains Village instead, reminiscent of Hateno. I don't know if I want to make it connected to Hateno, which is a town from Breath of the Wild, but maybe. Oh, also, I'm not sure if it passed already, but you'll notice there was a section of black screen where I may or may not have had my computer crash, and I lost 44 minutes of footage, which involved me shading all of the initial panel, which, is the most important panel here, and drafting the second panel, so that was mildly irritating. But whatever, at least I managed to actually save the progress and not have that get deleted, only the footage. So, oh well. C'est la vie, I suppose. Honestly, I think this is going to be the hardest, but also easiest time I've ever had with Linktober. Before, I usually I can do it. I'm getting my drawings done, everything's going great. Maybe I'm forgetting to upload them, but that's whatever. But I'm actually getting them done. And then I'll hit a roadblock, where I don't know what to draw next. I am at a loss, I have no clue what I should do for whatever prompt. I'll just get stuck, I can't come up with something, and I'm done. What I love about Linktober Quest, though, is because it's a storyline, you don't just have one single prompt floating in the air. You've got this prompt, and it's situated in this entire world that you have to think of and develop as you keep going. Like, for example, later on there's going to be a prompt for Zora armor. Okay, we've got Zora armor. What kind of temple do I want to make it on? What are the Zora like in this area? And based off how the Zora anatomy works, what kind of armor would they have? What kind of weapons do they have? Would the weapons have changed compared to, say, Breath of the Wild? Because the anatomy of the Zora changed, etc., etc. So, it's really interesting. I find just building a world like this really, really fun. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for the town, but I'll probably think of it when I get there. I've got a rough idea of what I want it to look like after having to design that gate, which you'll probably notice I redid several times. But I've got a rough idea of what I want it to look like and where I'm going to get inspiration for the architecture. But I don't know what's going to be in it, what kind of shops, what the main stuff that village has is. Who knows, but I know I definitely want to think about that when I'm drawing it. Think about who's in it, what people live there, why people live there. And because there's another one that mentions shopping just after this. Not just after, but a few days from now. I also want to think about, okay, so if this town does this, what do the neighboring towns and villages sell? What services do they offer that are different from this town or similar, and they're competing with this town for different customers? If you can't tell, I'm nerding out just a little bit, but hey, this is fun. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I'll leave you all be, and here's the rest of the speed paint. Enjoy!